All right, why don't you just read the next one first? 10 minutes, fierce elephant sent to kill him. To kill the Buddha. Yeah.
After above failed attempt on his life, Devadatta himself tried to kill the Buddha by rolling down a large stone at him, but it missed, and only a shot of it cut the Buddha's feet. Devadatta then tried a third time to kill the Buddha by having a fierce man-killing elephant, Nalagiri, let loose on the road along which the Buddha was coming. The elephant Nalagiri saw the
No, Nala.
Nalagiri saw the blessed one coming from afar. Seeing him having lifted up his trunk, he rushed towards the blessed one, his ear and tail erect. Monks with the Buddha saw this and said to the blessed one, Venerable Sir, this elephant Naragiri coming along this carriage road is a fierce manslayer. Venerable Sir, let the blessed one turn back, let the fortunate one turn back. Wait, monks, do not be afraid. It is impossible. Monks, it cannot come to pass that anyone could deprive the Tathagata of life by aggressions. Most Tathagatas attain final nirvana not because of an attack. The monk repeat their request twice more, and the Buddha replied in the same way each time.
All right, next one.
What at that time people having mounted up on the safety of the long houses and the curved houses and the roofs, waited there. Then the blessed ones suffused the elephant Nalagiri with a mind of loving kindness, and the elephant Nalagiri, having been suffused by the blessed ones with a mind of loving kindness, having lowered his trunk, approached the blessed one, and having approached, stood in front of him. Then the blessed one, stroking the elephant's Nalagiri's front head with his right hand, addressed him with verses. Then the elephant Nalagiri, having taken the dust of the blessed one's feet with his trunk, having scattered it all over his head, moved back, bowing while he gazed upon the blessed one. Then the elephant Nalagiri, having returned to the elephant staple, stood in his own place, and it was in that way that he became tame.
Right. Any comment first?
So how do they keep this crazy elephants? Somebody must be taking care of this.
Yeah, the one of the elephant guy, I forgot in English how to call it. One of the elephant guy who take care of this Nalagiri was famous kind of maybe fierce elephant. And it was Devadatta asked him that to kill, to take this elephant to go that route when the Buddha is approaching. So then he released the elephant, and then the elephant he's actually kind of like a mad elephant. So then he was really, when he saw the Buddha, he just rushed into the Buddha.
And actually the elephant had several incidents before.
Must be. It didn't say that in the Vinaya, but it's come from Vinaya. It didn't say that whether they have incident, but everybody know that this elephant is big and also fierce.
So in essence, the elephant is kept by a keeper.
Yeah, a keeper.
And, so the keeper is like actually running a business of making that.
Well, it didn't say they're making to kill, but generally the keeper might be just guard this elephant, like that's his treasure, right? It's very expensive to have an elephant, and this is job. So
Yeah, but if the elephant not normal.
Yeah, but in that day, come on,
Maybe it's a
2000,
war elephant.
huh?
Maybe it's a war elephant. You just let loose in front of battle and just let it kill everyone.
Yeah. No, I don't think it would kill everyone. Maybe let's say this is a mad elephant. He could just he could just really like confine this elephant, and he doesn't want to do anything. It could be that case.
No, I'm just
Like
thinking.
let's say you have a pet. The pet is really dangerous, but it's not dangerous to you only. But you might not necessarily want to kill the pet also.
No, I'm not saying to kill the pet.
Yeah.
I'm saying, he's keeping it, and then if somebody requests this elephant, then he let go of that.
Well, he didn't say, as I say, that there were no any, I'm not sure, you can make up the story for kids when you talk to a kid, like a lot of this kind of thing. But at least in the what I want to say, and I don't know whether people want to do the research about this elephant also, at least what I read in the past, I remember it didn't mention much about whether the elephant was purposely being nourished because of killing the other. No, I never mentioned that. But I know sometimes, it could be this kind of culture go on, that people add up a little more spicy story on that. But I didn't see that way, yeah.
I
Yes.
think maybe the elephant is still in the process of being tamed. Like maybe the elephant was still younger, and because in history there's stories of, like the only Chinese female emperor was like taming wild horses, like really wild horses before they were really tamed.
Maybe that was one of the reasons too. But as I say, maybe there was a culture carry on, we don't know. Maybe one of the reasons he say that is just because the elephant waiting to be tamed. But for sure in here you mentioned, but from there onward he was tamed already. He become really nice. Yeah. Maybe that was the reason, yeah. I didn't think it that way, that maybe he was actually waiting, had been tamed, So I was just asking him to release that elephant when he saw the Buddha. Well, we never know what did he say. He didn't say much. Maybe he did say, actually, Devada have an evil mind. Maybe he could say, actually, Buddha will help you to tame the elephant. Just release it when you see it, there are people could say kind word. Actually, they just want to hurt you. They are that. So. Well, that was a very famous story, but because since you are not even in that kind of culture, like in Sri Lanka, it's a very famous story because you see elephant everywhere. People fear of elephant as well. And then sometimes when the elephant get a little bit crazy, whatever reason, because lots of children or what, and then they could even destroy a house. And that's why this story really can speak their mind, But for Chinese, it's okay, a powerful elephant, and that's it. So. But in culturally that in Sri Lanka, if you're still in Sri Lanka now, you could see elephant on the road, right? But even of nowadays, they also highly respect to these people. Usually, people when an elephant goes by and people are keeper of the elephants goes by, sometimes they give them water, they give them drink to eat, and so forth, and that, It's very common. Usually, if you take a bus. From Colombo to other place, especially to the south or to what, it's almost every day you could see elephant on the road. Okay, almost I would say, unless really heavy rain, I don't know. It's almost
So
yeah.
the elephant can be rented?
Yeah. Huh?
Can be rented? You can rent a
I don't know. I never do that. I'm not sure. I definitely know in the past, the elephant still now actually in those countries. The elephant have a different job, right? They use the trunk to carry the timber. Timber, yeah. Yeah, they still do that job, and these are professionals, kind of like you could say by heritage that people who have to learn how to tame the elephant, and they would usually pass out the knowledge to their children, and like that. But I have a little doubt here. I don't remember. This is the I might be wrong, but I don't think I think Devadatta then tried the third time to kill the Buddha by having a fierce man killing elephant. I think that actually the second time, because here it said that the Devadatta himself tried to kill the Buddha by rolling down a large stone, that actually should be the third time after this elephant and success. Because only that time he showed his face. Because when the Buddha was hurt by the on the feet by the little stone, later on, like a big snow, when it comes down, just only become a small snow like that. And on his heel he was bleeding, and when he looked up, he saw there was Devadatta on that cave. He was telling the Devadatta, saying that, you are actually doing a very demerit thing. And also that time he proclaimed that, so because of you're bleeding that, then you will be going to the hell. He's not saying this as a curse, but saying that as a prophecy. See? Yeah, the word in English now again, going to hell is like a cursing. He was not cursing, he was just as a prophecy. Because you did that, he did a lot of bad things already. Like he knew that there were that, kind of like sending these elephants also, and then the assassin also is sent basically by the Devadatta also. So he knew that already, but he didn't even actually prophesy that he would go to there, because at least the Buddha didn't really bleed. But that time, when he was trying to put the stone on the hill, that he thought he pushed the stone down and he thought it would kill the Buddha. But that, even though just a small, the result is just only a small, that hurt the Buddha's feet, that bleed a little bit on his heel. But he said that there was, in karma, he would be having a really bad karma. Yes?
Does that mean that the Buddha doesn't get bitten by mosquitoes, usually?
I'm not sure about that, but definitely culturally, no, I mean, this is a good question, but culturally definitely believe that he would not be bitten by the mosquito. But even though it might be sound that not necessarily true, because I don't know, but of course according what right after when he got enlightenment, right, it said that the Nara, the snake, want to protect him under the storm, right? But he did say that he didn't even, not only just protect him in the storm, he was not allowing the mosquito even come close to the Buddha. So I don't know whether it implied that he was bitten by the mosquito. But of course, culturally, I don't think that they believe that the Buddha was bitten by the mosquito. Maybe mosquito even don't want to beat the Buddha, But I think this is another one thing is question. The other thing question is, here it's not about, because the Buddha bleeding, okay? He's not saying that because he bleed, then everybody will be cursed. It didn't take that way.
It's
Yeah.
because of intention and also follow through with action and action causing harm.
And so.
All of which a mosquito biting would also.
I like here actually the best to say don't back to the mosquito, and you just go to meditate, and when you see the Bodhisattva and the Buddha, and ask the Buddha and the Bodhisattva, okay. If you want to waste your time, just when you see the Bodhisattva and Buddha, and you ask this kind of question, you could do though. So my meditation been doing 6 years to 10 years. The only reason I just want to ask, whether the mosquito do the mosquito draw the blood from
Say no. Oh, that's so profound.
But I like here actually the word is that when, let me say, there's a one, I don't know how, I cannot exactly remember, but on what occasion, he did say the word about, there are few things I think we need to still somehow remember, is he said, what did he reply that? He said he doesn't kill to become a Buddha. Okay. I say, wait, monk, do not be afraid. It is impossible, monks. It cannot come to pass that anyone could deprive the Tathagata of life by aggression. Monk, the Tathagatas attain final nirvana not because of an attack. I think this is really very important. It's to show the morale of the Buddhism, also the Buddhism. So why you weren't afraid? Because the gaining the final nirvana is not by attack. But when your mind is not harbor this idea about attack, why you're afraid? I definitely agree with that, even though now I become more afraid, because maybe nowadays my heart is not, still have attack, maybe going, I mean, this is kind of like, when I say attack, I'm not really attack people, but that's happening in my mind. But I do remember when I was living in a certain place in the past, I told you already in the story, I make a lot of snake, even the snake sleep with me, I won't sleep with me, not with me. Just below me, today I don't even get scared. Because the time your mind is free of all this of anxiety, free of really, you don't even saw the snake, you want to attack the snake. And the snake just go by this way, when you walk, go beside me, we walk together like, I can very proudly tell you, I have one idea of thinking what it is. It's going to attack me. No. So, of course, I'm not Buddha. I cannot sustain it for long like this. But I definitely have those experiences in my life when I was really diligent at the time. And even the war happening in Sri Lanka when I was there, the gun was boom, boom, bing, bing, bang. I don't have any fear. I still remember my father called me. He said, in those days, he saw the news from Sri Lanka. David, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Don't look at it that now. Just listen to a story. Okay. Don't always look at a screen. Yeah, I remember my father called me also. And then I was somehow, in those days when you call you, that telephone is only in the abbot room. And the abbot knew that it was come from a long distance, and he had called attendant, and the attendant had called somebody because the attendant would not come to see me because I'm not a big monk, okay? And then that's why he had to wait. My father had to wait on the phone, and this long distance call is expensive in those days. So kind of at least 5 minutes gone is very natural, but he knew that already. So and then he called me and call this and call this and call this, and then I run and they come to me. And then it's quite a big place, and I had to go and fetch the phone. And then I remember my father said he just saw the news and there was a bombing here and there, and out of compassion also, I didn't tell my parents, yeah, I really, I saw the cops on the street. I don't have fear at that time. I really don't. But I always tell myself I spoil a lot when I came to things that they from England. You start to worry a little thing. In those days, I don't. I really. So even though I don't have the really that kind of good situation like Buddha all the time, but I somehow can relate that, because why you fear? To the Buddha, he doesn't fear it. He doesn't really have to find a liberation by attack. So it's nothing to be afraid. It's not because to read that Buddha think he's not going to die, I don't know. But definitely he doesn't have the fear at all. I don't know at that time if the elephant come to me, what I would feel, okay. But I certainly, when I saw the war, I hear the bomb, I hear the gun shooting around, okay. Really, I don't have anything. Unless people ask you, are you afraid? I would think about, yeah, am I afraid? No, I'm fine. But there was a time, I'm not going to talk my story too long. So, and only time I'm afraid is because when one of my teachers passed away. So, and there was another story. And when he was really murdered. Yeah. Mm. Don't look at me like this. Oh, the monk now have a good life. Huh? You never know how much thing I've gone through. Huh?
Monk was murdered?
Yeah, he was very famous. I was very lucky actually in a way, now I think about that. He was one of the famous monks who was as a preacher in the whole Sri Lanka. So imagine when he passed away, the government wanted everybody to lower the flag, half-mast flag, to him. I lived there, and I was lucky was accepted by him. I learned something from him, I want to say. Learn in a way, not necessarily just because of practice, but more about his attitude towards, rich people attitude. Because he's so, and it was a reason why I've been invited to Fodana, to the minister house, to the prime minister house at the time. And also it's a good test for me, because you have to see about whether you have a proud when you go there. You feel excited or not. And when you meet the prime minister, offer you the food, the wife, the so-called the prime minister's wife, offer you food, and children was offering food, how you think about. And I don't mean that now I'm good, but I mean I definitely go through a certain thing, right? It was like, so I mean, this is a very good opportunity now when I'm thinking about that. So.
But that was then. What do you feel now if something like that happened?
Well, actually, that was quite hurtful because I think when I lost I don't have any place to go. He was the one very kind. During the wartime, anyway, when I left the place, I have no place to stay. Whenever I ask for the place to stay, either because I'm not rich, because I come from the country, they think it's not rich. They thought I didn't understand Sinhalese, but I somehow understand the language. So some people were asking, how the country? They say, no, that country is not rich. They think it's poorer than them. Actually, it's not true. Malaysia, they think Malaysia is poorer than them. Anyway, so not many people allow me to stay. I mean, there was a long story. I stayed in outside, there was a time or so. Just stay on the street. But luckily, that's not a country like you have a winter. But then at last, I went to a place where I thought, this is too big. The temple is too. You know it's a very rich temple, very, very rich temple. You could just see out. Because people suggest me, they saw me as a foreigner, they say, why don't you go that side? Go up there and you will see a temple. They must have a plenty of room to accept you. Because some lay people there, even though they don't know me, they ask me why you're here begging for food. I say, I'm looking for a place to stay too. So I don't know the place. Then they say, you should just go on that, that would be a good place for you to go to stay. And they offer me the food. They say, you go out, this is a rich temple, maybe they will help you. Other places, maybe now a wartime. A lot of people are even from the village, they have a war, right? And the monk have to go to the city, so they have the bigger places. You have never lived that kind of thing. You don't know how your mind is going on. I have to say that time I don't know why my mind was so strong. Anyway, I went over there and I saw the temple. I thought, oh, this is not, I don't think they would take me because too rich. I mean, why they want a poor monk, not giving them a fortune in the future. They think that there's no future for them. And why they want to take a monk inside you, it might be giving you trouble also, some monk can be very troublesome too. Yeah, they live there, they start to complain this, complain that. They didn't. And then, but then anyway, I went inside. Actually, when I saw that, I turned back. I walked back. I walked maybe almost 20 minutes. In those I didn't walk a lot. I walked 20 minutes down. Because it's a hilly place I took down. The funny part is that when I almost reached the end of the platform, the ground, in hilly place, and I thought, since I've been here, why I want to, because I didn't have this idea, why I don't go inside at least to pay respect to the monk. That's all. If they don't, I'm not going to get angry. I respect, because I definitely understand what the monkhood is about, how many kind of different monks they are. They can be ungrateful to monks. I met a lot of these kind of monks. I'm not surprised by that. So I thought, why don't I just go? So then I return it back, go up there. And go up there, and then I go inside. I say I want to meet the head of the monk. In Sinhalese, it's called Logohamdru. And they were, luckily one way is because, firstly, is culturally, when you are a foreign monk, and also you are come from outside, like not living around, then they definitely will meet you too. If you say you live around, they don't care. Sometimes they don't, because they don't want, especially they are so rich, they are so powerful. And I said, no, I want to see the local Hamdra. And they said, oh, you were lucky he's here. So, and then he was agreed to met me. I lived there actually 2 years. And I went inside and I told him that my situation and which temple I live and what happening and so far and this and that. I don't want to say pure story anyway. I just want to say simply I end up no place to stay. Not because they chased me up. Okay, not because of that. Nothing to do with that. So anyway, I told him the situation and that. Then he asked me one question. He say, you go for arms round sometime. I say, if you want me to go to arms round, go to arms round. But because I understand the Sri Lankan culture, sometimes you don't go to arms round because if you go to arms round, the lay people complain. They serve the food for you. Now your monk going out, right? Of course, culturally they complain. And then I said, then he said, no matter, if you want to go arms round, you can go arms round. But he was very kind. He said, our food is not very nice here, but if you find the food is not suit to you, then you can go for arms round. Then he gave me the room to stay. Actually, I was surprised. I won't say I was surprised. I didn't have a big reaction. It's every monk surround me was surprised. This is how I knew later on. I don't know whether it's true. They said, but now, of course, later on when I grew up a little bit, I can understand why. Imagine he used to associate minister and the prime minister, or this most important politician. Imagine in that kind of culture, every monk like to stay there, right? Even though you really have no chance to meet them, those people, they still think it's very prestige, right? And imagine I have nothing, and he would just take me in. And that was one of the best temple I lived. I mean, in terms of facility, the room, the bathroom, everything. And he said, oh, you are very lucky also. We just finished building a new building. You will have the whole building by yourself. I have the whole building by myself. And there's some guests coming. But he didn't ask me to do anything. He didn't ask me because I need to look after the whole building, nothing. He didn't have anything because anyway, you know, that temple, I don't need to do anything. But anyway, I don't want to say other story later. But then when he was murdered, of course, I was very sad because at least when I was really difficult time, he gave me a place to stay. Even though there was some problem with some student, I'm not going to say whatever. But I'm not going to say that also. Because I still recognize these people are nice to me. This is what my always attitude to people. Even though, you know, our mind can be not satisfied with many things. This is our mind, right? But at least people were helping me when I was there. That was the reason why. It was really the time that I really break my heart is when he was murdered. Then the next thing is about the new abbot, because somehow he knew I know so much thing about him. And then I'm not going to say whatever. So he asked me, just for the sake of the safety reason, imagine he was murdered already. And then even people the communist at that time, even saying that they want to put a bomb to blast the temple also. At least they have this kind of letter coming in. They say, as you are only foreigner monk, so they cannot guarantee the safety to stay there. So that's why, this is the reason why I moved to other temple at the end, where I lived quite a long time later on. But when I was not living in Colombo at that time, I was living in outsider. That was why. Actually, when I told Bhikkhu Bodhi I lived there, Bhikkhu was so surprised also. You live there? Everybody know him. He's so popular, so famous. And at the same time, he say, even when he was murdered, was shot. You were there? I say yes. That was the time. Anyway, back to the story. Fear. I guess I really touch when I say this word, saying that, you know, what is the fear? Because the final nibbana is not because of an attack. You know, to get the final nibbana is not an attack. It's a really, really strong, I would say, if everybody can take this as a motive, it's really strong statement. If this is in Christian, they would talk the origin. Why we so fear? You know, you can go to every house, lock the door by door, because the message is the final nibbana is never by attack. Don't worry, people abuse you or attack you or using a bad word towards you. Okay, anyway, you have comment and question? Yeah.
Does the Tathagata's final nibbana is not because of an attack? Does this mean like Buddha's final nibbana is not because of an attack, or does this also apply to like normal arahants?
Even normal arahant, everybody, even a sotapanna, the nibbana is nothing to do with the attack. So as I just say, I don't even have any like this kind of like Buddha whatever. But at least I used to, you know, I really at the time I don't fear what done shooting. I definitely knew there was a time when your mind are really good. I can guarantee that is one thing I would say. Even the people pointing you the gun, you have no fine. I'm not saying that you become like a lazy, what to call that kind of animal, sloth, not like that. But I mean, your mind really no. Yes.
Not in here, but in a different sutta for the Mahayana, they did mention that Devadatta actually got Buddha's blessing to be a Buddha in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You become
Yes.
a Pacheta Buddha?
No.
Just Samyasa Buddha or
Yeah, he will
Pacheta
become,
Buddha?
eventually become a,
Then you were talking about Lotus Sutra?
yeah.
Oh, the Lotus Sutra, everybody will be a Buddha anyway. So, yeah. All Arahant will be a Buddha. Yeah. So, yes.
So in the next paragraph, it's saying the blessed one stroking the elephant's forehead addressed him with verses. Was the Buddha, like, what does this mean? What are these verses? Like, was the Buddha talking to the elephant, like, in elephant language? Like, what does this mean?
He
Give
can read
blessing
his
now.
mind. He can read the elephant's mind.
No, I mean, definitely, I still believe that maybe the elephant understand what they say. Not necessarily because of language. It's not they have a logical understanding the logical language, but the feeling is there. But the Buddha is still uttering the words. I mean, this is not surprising. When you ask this question, I will remember actually. In between there's something happen. Oh, in between there's something happened. I don't know what. Cannot remember exactly now. I want to say that it's also the same thing. It's like because the monk, it was who I forgot, heard the Deva told him something about in between this kind of like people want to assassinate the Buddha or the Devadatta is going to do something bad. I forgot what case already. There was some incident. And then the interesting conversation is the Buddha asked the monk, you have the conversation with the God, the Devas, the true what? True mind? So then his claim, yes, because I understand, because otherwise there's no same similar language. This is what it means that they don't have similar language. So like the elephant. I mean, actually, it's the same kind of passage around this time. I forgot what incident. So, and then the Buddha say, okay, if that's how you understand through the mind, then the Buddha take it. In other words, I mean, there's no mistake that kind of like language could make a mistake. But if that was to understand through the mind from the Deva, so this is Buddha take that as more like the value, much value. So in other words, he kind of like, I think the Deva were trying to inform that monk that Devadatta is going to kill the Buddha. So the story is like that. So he replied such a way. Yeah. But here also one interesting about thing is then the elephant also put suck kind of like use his trunk to take this stuff from him and put it on his head. It's to kind of show his humbleness, the surrender. Devadatta later on, of course, it's only been predicted that he will become only the Pachaka Buddha because at least he had also practiced up to a very high standard in practice. But Devadatta never, some say in some other passage say that not in the Vinaya, but in other passages say that he actually he had reached to like a, at least he definitely have a vipassana power and quite a powerful vipassana power. But he only retained within the supernatural power, psychic power, not like the Anuruddha, like among them Patika, Anuruddha, Devadatta, and then the Mahanama. And then the Mahanama, Patika was the first actually attend the Arahant, if I was not wrong. But everybody know Anuruddha is very famous for his divine eyes. Yeah. And the Mahanama is very famous for his really skillful on debate. But Devadatta was he had the supernatural power. But Lakonini said that after when he, how he lost his power and also why he become like that, maybe you could see he's desperate in a different thing because he have a power, but one day when he think that he should really actually to be a leader of the monk. The Buddha is getting older, but still not too old. I forgot how old. There was a kind of calculation there. And because at that time, Moggallana was still there, and then the Sariputra was still there. Oh yes, now the story actually is the Moggallana's one of the attendant, but his attendant had passed away, and he became a deva. Yeah, he passed away. And one of the attendant of the Moggallana. And the Moggallana, the attendant still become deva, he still knows. So when he knew that, that's why he informed Moggallana, and Moggallana informed the Buddha. It was Moggallana. So what else? So he then after he performed the supernatural, even though there's different ways saying, like a Chinese version are different, but at least a Pali would say he's so powerful he can disappear and then appear in front of the Prince Ajatasattu as a little kid, and then taking the snake. A little kid can take a snake like that, but the Ajatasattu was so scared. Who is that person suddenly appear and with that? And he say, I'm Ajatasattu. Of course, it might be that he was kind of course, he's also a powerful monk. And then he said that he showed him, he said, I'm Ajatasattu. And then then Ajatasattu said, then if you're Ajatasattu, just back. I'm so scared of what you appear to. Huh?
You mean Devadatta?
Yeah, the Devadatta, sorry. Yeah, the Devadatta. So ask him, if you are the venerable, you are the famous Devadatta, please show back. Please, turn back your body. So he turned back. But then it said that later on, because of that, he lost his psychic power, supernatural power. That was the reason why he lost his supernatural. Maybe he was so desperate, because he wanted the fame, he wanted being recognized. He wanted to be, anyway, the power, the recognition, and that. And that's one thing is clear also. These kind of people, when they have a crook mind, they are always crook, I guess. And he was funny that he was thinking one at a time when they were not success. He was saying that, how we can really make these people follow me rather than follow the Buddha or the Buddha teachings, because he was desperate already. Imagine when he lost everything. I'm sure he was desperate. Now I can somehow imagine that kind of situation. It could be. So, and what he would do is that he say, the Buddha always admonishes like living in a frugal life, right? And be considerate, be working hard, right? And he have a kind of like calculation and doing that. So if the Buddha always admonishes that, the easier way to destroy the Buddha, and now we admonish something that in my language means more extreme. So that's why he would suggest that not to accept that people invite to go to house, that because you want to live in you are really devoted to your practice. Why you want to go to the house, lay people house? And then not to eat fish and flesh, because if you're really thinking you are not killing, and why you want and this. So and all the time stay in the cave and under the tree. And then why you want to stay in some building and people build for you and do for your practice? So that's why he will admonish us to find kind of thing, right? David, are you all right? Why you look? You think this story is very boring?
No, I'm listening.
This is very important. Not just think about the teaching. This is also teaching. Trust me. When I was learning Buddhism, I don't care this kind of story. When I get older, I think this is really, really important. It's about the whole community, the society, and the person. Really, more than what you call only just the items of teaching. Yeah. So, and then, I guess, so that's why they come up that. And this is why they admonish that we have a more strict. And they're very clever in front of the assembly. And the Devadatta asking, because that time Devadatta was still included in the assembly. Only at one time the Buddha denounced his monkhood, but said you might not necessarily, because you're not following the Dhamma, so, and then you have your own thing. Kind of like, why don't you just do your own, something like that, indirectly. in the community. There's a kind of assembly they have. But at the earlier time when they have assembly, he asked the Buddha. He said, why don't the Buddha then we will just change the rule, like don't go to the house, just don't eat meat, don't do this, don't do that, because this is according to the teaching. And the Buddha said, if you want to do that, you can do that, but this is not the kind of setting as a rule. And then that's why some other people who are not really totally understand the teaching, of course, love this kind of idea. You have become more extreme, right? To show people think that you are more respect. Imagine you say, I'm a good monk, I don't go to a house. I'm good monk, I don't go do this, I don't do that, I don't do this. This is what they like. And anyway, he was a seed. That's why to take a lot of monks out, leave them and follow. And this is how they first spread that. And after that happened, so that's why, and it became very growing and popular. And that's why I think then the assembly will be held. When the assembly been held, the Buddha was asking that, kind of like the teaching is still going on, that they have their own teachings, and then how we look at this, and should anyone that have the way to pursue them. So that's why the Sariputta took the job later on, anyway. He was very clever. He didn't really like fight with the Buddha. He would just stay with them, but he just trying to make in a big. This is nowadays happen also. You can see it in here. So it's a kind of the way they make it.
But actually, his follower. Devadatta's followers. They have a lot of people continue the practice until the time when.
Even Xuanzang was mentioned about that. He was surprised at so many followers. Yeah. Because you have to understand, if you are not understand teachings, but you only follow the formality, and they have more strict formality. And Indian culture, not only Indian, actually Chinese culture is the same. It's very easy to get famous. You just make more strict rule for them, and not necessarily they will follow you at first. The devotee, but at least they will appreciate you. This is not. Trust me, it's not very difficult. Not very difficult. You just have to be honest to your mind or not. It's not difficult. This kind of trick, all kind of trick we have learned already. When learn means there are people who talk to me also. If you want to be famous, you should do this. Those kids, you become a monk for more than 30 years, not just wasting your time. Actually, you learn a lot of how many people can pursue you different things. Not that, yeah. Someone to cooperate with you, Cooperate, yeah. Cooperate. Cooperate. Yeah, what mean bird?
He said Beverly Hills.
No.
Hollywood stuff.
Wait, you? Now I can see how suddenly you get spirit now. Was that because of that reason? Yeah. We have very little time left. We are not going to read the next one because Angulimala is one of the very important, very interesting story. We'll leave it for the next talk. But try to spend the 5 minutes on what else we need to talk about. Any comments on what? Yeah. Maybe Devadatta. I love Devadatta's story, really. The more older I get, the more I love his story. Before I really, what it is about. To be honest, when I was studying in Sri Lanka at that time, the first year when I learning about him, especially in the school, you had to learn. Teacher didn't talk that much, but politically we need to learn something about Devadatta, his idea, and so forth, and this and that. I really hate this idea always. It's all about our mind. At that time I thought, why the Chinese talk about Devadatta? I don't know that time even Tibetan have the same version. And I thought, if this is in another religion, they would cut that off because it's not good for the Buddha. Devadatta is the one that disagrees with the Buddha. He make a problem with the Buddha, and he have many tricks with the Buddha. And then that means the Buddha is not all powerful, right? And the Buddha also have this kind. And of course, that time I didn't see how the Buddha actually had compassion to him. He knew his problem. He warn him, but he didn't really kill him, at least, and all these other things. But some other people don't think that way. And at that time I didn't think it that way. I just thought, why that story if the monk were really, if you were in terms of talking about, in terms of to save the Dharma, why don't just delete this part? Yeah, this maybe is true. The story is there at least. But delete that part. But it didn't delete it, just return and become so popular. Popular means every monk had to learn. I remember even some old monk, they talk, giving the talk, especially old monk, young monk don't like to talk this. Young monk always like to talk, oh, this is a powerful Buddha. But the old monk like to talk this. I start now I realize, because I'm also getting older maybe. So I start to realize that actually there are lots of pictures I don't see, but one of the pictures I want to say is, it actually is very important to see about the community because of Devadatta. He gave a really clear story about, and it's also sometimes we look at our mind, see about with Devadatta also. I guess that's the reason why the story be retained. Not firstly, the Buddhism are very honest, not to trying to fool people, telling the Buddha in a one way, but definitely also show how patient the Buddha was. And at the same time, is to say how this Devadatta could use even the teaching itself to make it his own goodness, But by the worst thing is hurting the community, Otherwise, it's clear the Buddha is fine. If say I want to disrupt, or I want to just go out of place, I want to do my own job, I want to disrupt, or I want to set a new school, the Buddha would not say anything. But the thing is, he is still using the resource, same resource, but he wants to hurt the resource and get it on his own benefit. And also he has a lot of idea, which also luckily it was kept, so that you could easily see. I want to say this because when you run a community, when you stay in a community, it's really something that we need to think about. Like somebody like very extreme about a Buddhist community. Oh, I don't like this school, I don't like that school. But you still recognize as a Buddhist community, look at the Buddha at that time. He come to that so strong already. The Buddha knew that he wanted to kill him at that time already. But that time he still didn't throw the stone yet, because that was too obvious. But somehow the Buddha still accept him, that maybe waiting whether he would change a chance, right? So this is the same thing. Imagine that what even in the Buddhists they have many other schools. I mean, just take this as example. We don't want to hurt the community,
But then the two of the Buddha and the Devadatta, they had many previous life.
Yeah, I sometimes read it that way. That Devadatta always be a repellent to the Buddha. It looks like in the past. So that's why it carried the same kind of vasana in the Sanskrit word, meaning xi, some kind of the perfume, especially in Abhidhamma way of explaining. It carried this kind of the how to say habit or something like that from the past life, and they still if they find the reason he still want to do that. But then the Buddha all the time very accepting to him. So
And Devadatta in the past,
but I forget.
Superior to him.
Yeah, it's also actually in certain situations Devadatta actually are more powerful than the Buddha. But he also tried to, but he also changed. He didn't really even though he did an evil thing at first, but then later on he also changed. So this is how in this life, at least during Buddha's life, he's able to associate with the Buddha also. So he was not like only all the time was bad. But what I want to say that when you read it really about the Jataka and relate to what understanding the whole Devadatta, I guess people should write about Devadatta in a different way. So even though we have few books about him, but I think still not enough. So I think one thing is about, I read it this way whenever the Buddha talking about the Devadatta, some people read it almost like it was because in the past it was bad. But I would trying to read it, actually the Buddha tried to tell the people, certainly is believe the Buddha have a power to read the past so powerful to say that he actually was like that. So please not to mad at him, kind of like more like accepting by him, rather than really creating he was past like that, so he's a bad. No, this is what I want to emphasize. It's a different. He would just want to say almost like a kid, right? A child. You know, he was like that, a little bit mischief already. Now he still carry that kind of trait, mischief trait, so he be a mischief, just be forgiving. So this is why I like people to remind that, because sometimes when you read that, you could carry a different understand. So
I think it's been twisted more like towards the other side.
yeah, this is what I try to emphasize.
Seeing the real picture, how Buddha handled the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the Buddha handled it. That's why I say when I read this again, I find actually the Buddha handled it. Just trying to say, even in the past, it was a bad trait that influenced him now. That's what he reminded people. Okay, you need to forgive him. You know, kind of like that. You know, so I guess this. And this is why I say I hope the people you read the thing again, it will be really helpful. You know. Yeah, because I definitely know how I look at it in the past when I read something, and then now when I read something, I believe now I'm reading more than before, or more familiar, more or less. I definitely feel differently. Yeah. And when I say this, is also to do with that, because when I read, like nowadays when I translate the text, I read all the commentary. I say all mean that the text which I think is necessary, and I also find, for example, like when the Buddha say he could read the Buddha Dhatu, the Dhamma Dhatu, mean in that refer to he can understand the past. It's very clear he want to look at that. Reason is not for what. One of the reason is just want to understand, like what we generally understand. Kind of like, it's almost like just to understand the person's background, not just to hurt the person, in order to help the person. So, you know, and that only sometimes this kind of power only the Buddha could do. And it's very interesting because last year when I teach the Sravaka Bhumi, because this is how the first chapter talk about is Dhammadipa, and I might know something I didn't know it in the detail. Only one reason when I read the commentary, that's fine. Oh, now I understand why they had to mention this kind of thing. So, and he also mentioned also at the end, only the Buddha could really know the detail on everybody, not even the Arahant and so forth. So that's, I mean, this is the reason why even now in the Pali Sutta, you have this term there, and why the term is mentioned. But in the past, when I read it, okay, fine, this term is different, have a different meaning from the other place, because Dhammadipa can be referred to the anicca, dukkha, anatta, and nibbana. But there it doesn't mean that. It means different thing, you know. All right. Thank you for all coming attendance. And then, oh yes, by the way, so we need to announce a few things, right? And then the first thing about the Thursday, we are going to have the Dhamma the IBA Saturday and the study. So please come, okay? Yeah. And then also we have a Triyana chanting. At least you should come for the last day and then the first day if you can make it. There will be from 15 to 17, right? 14 to 16. I knew there's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Friday we also have a parade around here, circumferences, not parade. So and then just to join us also, yeah. And then the first day will be the Pali chanting, yeah. And the second day will be the Tibetan in the morning, and then Vietnamese in the evenings. Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
I have not posted it yet.
Yeah.
It should be up in a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah, because since we are running this, is also first time. I definitely think that we hope that we have more people can, as I say, just to mudita, happy. Everybody happy. Just meditate your mudita meditation. your joy concentration. I don't know. We don't know it also.
About 500?
No.
In here you 500 monk.
We're going to explore.
Yeah, and
How many chairs do you have?
and please also call your friends, and then at least have the infuse some of the social faith energy. Okay, all right. Okay, we just do the transfer merit, and thank you for the online friends. Yeah.
Akasata Chapumata Devanaka Mahindika Punyanda Tang Anumoti Twa Chirang Rakam Tu Sasanang Chirang Rakam Tu Desanang Chirang Rakam Tu Mang Baranti.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah.